Ajnanatamrandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Malatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master has kindly opened my eyes with the shining torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto his lotus feet. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, so we're continuing our reading of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, entitled Attaining the Supreme. Text number 20. No, 21. Text number 21.
That's what I was a few years ago.
I can't
You were
see
21?
you. I can't see you properly, Gulshan.
Yeah?
It's like your internet's, is it a bit funny? Can you see them properly, Abhay?
Yeah, I can see you all very well. You look pretty.
It's oscillating between Gulshan's face is blurry and Gail's face is blurry.
Yeah.
Now I can see Gail's
it's okay.
face. Now it's better. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because if I'm in the distance, it's get blurry. If I'm get closer, it's clear. Because
No, that's okay.
Because
No
sharing
problem.
the one screen, we can't say close to that. If you close, clear. If it's that blurry.
No, as long as we can hear each other. As long as we can hear each other.
Yeah. Look, when I close and she get blurry. If you go back a little bit, yeah, she get blurry.
Yes. That's okay. That's okay. We don't have to
sit on the dining
go
table,
back
then
and forward.
You don't need to see me.
Yeah.
Just hear me.
Yes.
Because
Actually,
Yeah.
that's the subject of the section, is talking about manifest and unmanifest. So Gulshan and Gail are going through the manifest, unmanifest stages.
Well, he said he's the good.
Oh, your voice is breaking up, Gail. I might have to move.
No, it's doing it on mine too. I can see you, Abhay.
Need to see him and hear me.
I'll move to a better place.
Because he's good looking
I think it.
Is that better? Can you hear?
and I'm smart.
I think it's Gail and Gulshan's internet that
Is
is
it?
properly.
no problem to seeing you, probably.
You guys are breaking up
Oh,
though.
wow. Two stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay. Abhay went to the bunker.
Yeah. I thought maybe it's
You went
my
to
internet that's giving trouble, but let's see.
Don't worry about the looking, but can you hear us clearly?
Yes, I can hear. I can hear you now.
How about Bhakti? You can hear us clearly?
You're sort of coming in and out. Abhay, I can hear Abhay, but not you guys are. A bit...
Krishna,
It's okay. Don't worry about us because we have to listen to Abhay Prabhu anyway.
Okay.
No, it's okay. Okay, let's read text 21 and then go from there. Avyaktakshara ityuktas
Avakyo shara iktyustat
kammahu paramam gatim
kammahu paramam gatim
yam prapya nivatante
yam praptyana nivatante
tadama paramam mama.
Tattvama paramama. That which the Vedantist describe an unmanifested and inflammable, that which is known as the supreme destination, which having attained it, one never returns. This is my supreme abode. If you don't believe me, go to. That's it.
Okay, so what's a Vedantist? Who knows what a Vedantist is?
It's like the one who carry the lineage, like the parampara. for
Okay.
that
Okay.
with that.
Veda. What's
Maybe
that?
just people that study the Vedas.
Yes, yes, very good. Very good. Yeah, study the Vedas.
Vedantist.
Yeah, Veda means knowledge, and anta means the end or the conclusion. So the conclusion of all knowledge. So those that are great sages, philosophers, scholars, and they are inclined to do that, then they are looking at what is the topmost knowledge, what is the essence of all knowledge, what is the conclusion of knowledge. So those that study this essence of all knowledge, then they are known as the Vedantists. As you know, Vyasadeva compiled all the Vedas. There's four. Well, originally there was one Veda, and then he divided that one Veda into four, and that's known as the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda, and Sama Veda. And then he compiled 108 Upanishads, 18 Puranas, and then the Mahabharata, and then some other literatures also. So it's a lot of knowledge, the Vedas. And then after writing all the Vedas, then he wrote what is the essence of all the Vedas, and that's known as the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra, that's short verses that give the essence of all of the Vedas. Like, I'll give you an example. One of the first verses goes, Atato Brahma Jijnasa. That's it, 3 words. Therefore, one should inquire into the absolute truth. However, one can interpret these short verses in many different ways and probably misinterpret it too. So then he's written a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra to make sure we get the right understanding. Who knows what the commentary on the Vedanta Sutra is? Which book is the commentary on the Vedanta Sutra? Not the Bhagavad Gita, no.
It's a Mahabharata.
No. Bhagavad Gita actually comes inside the Mahabharata.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'll give you a clue. It's one of the Puranas, which is the essence of all the Vedas, the commentary on the Vedanta Sutra.
don't know.
I'll give you a clue. It starts Srimad.
Srimad Bhagavad.
Srimad Bhagavatam, yeah. Srimad Bhagavatam, another name is called the Bhagavad Purana. It's actually one of the 18 Puranas.
Really?
So after writing all of the Vedas, the
Oh,
4 original Vedas and the 108 Upanishads and all those Puranas, well, actually it would have been 17, 17 Puranas. Then he wrote the last Purana, which is the essence of all of the Vedas, which is the Bhagavad Purana, or also known as Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary given by Vyasadeva, who's the author of the Vedanta Sutra. So the author of the Vedanta Sutra, he's written a commentary on his own Vedanta Sutra. And that's the best person to do the commentary as the person that wrote the book. So he wrote the Vedanta Sutra, so then he's explained it. If you look at the very first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, it goes Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and then it goes Janmadyasi Yataha Anvayada Taratas Chatesa Bignasarat Taina Brahma Hridaya Yadi Kavya Muyanti Yatsurya Tejo Vari Madam Yata Vanimeo Yatra Trisago Mrasa Damna Swaina Sada Nirastagu Hakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. Did you understand that? You know, so that's the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. But where does that come from? That comes from Vedanta Sutra. So the first verse of Vedanta Sutra, I think it's the first verse, it goes Janmadyasya Yata. That's it. Janmadyasya Yataha. From whom everything comes. That's what that means. From whom everything comes. And the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam starts off with the same 3 words. Janma yasya yataha. But then it goes on with a massive verse, and it identifies from whom everything comes. Who is that? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. From everything emanates from Vasudeva, which is Krishna. The son of Vasudeva is Vasudeva. That's Krishna. So Krishna is that person from which everything comes. So
the
yeah.
Vedanta Sutra, you said that's the 18 Puranas. And what else did you say was it? The Mahabharata. And
yeah, the Vedas consists of the 4 original Vedas, Sama, Rig, Atharva, and Yajur.
Yeah.
And then 108 Upanishads, of which Prabhupada translated one of them, which is Sri Upanishad, but there's 108 altogether. And then there's 18 Puranas, and one of them is the essence, which is the Bhagavad Purana, or known as Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the essence of all the Vedas.
Yeah.
And then, the Mahabharata, which Bhagavad Gita is inside the Mahabharata. So he composed all of those, and probably a little bit more too, but those are all the main works of the Vedas. And then, so yeah, those persons that study the Vedanta Sutras, they're particularly known as Vedantists. Interestingly, Gail's got her hand up. Yeah.
Yep. So is this basically saying that when Pariksit was bitten by the snake and then goes, I've got a week before I die, I want to know everything I can know,
yeah,
so that I can go to Krishna. I'm going to sit up for 7 days and 7 nights. So what was related to him was a summary of all the Vedas. Is that what you're saying it was? A summary of all the Vedic scriptures?
Yeah, yeah.
The essence of them all.
The essence. And what is the essence is actually bhakti. The essence of all the Vedas is actually bhakti. That one should surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, engage in his loving service. Bhakti is the essence. And guess what? Who knows the full title of Prabhupada? Who can recite the full title of Prabhupada? It's at the front page of all the cover of all the books. What does it say?
Bhakti
Oh, Bhakti Vedanta. Really? Bhakti Vedanta. So that's Vedanta. There you go. The essence of all the Vedas, the conclusion of all the Vedas is what? Bhakti. Bhakti Vedanta. Bhakti Vedanta. That means that the conclusion or the essence of all the Vedas is bhakti. That's Bhakti Vedanta. So who knows the essence of all the Vedas? That's Prabhupada. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Prabhupada knows the essence of all the Vedas is bhakti. That's why his godbrothers gave him that title, Bhaktivedanta Swami.
Prabhupada knows all these 18 canto. He translate that. And all the Srimad Bhagavatam, that 18
12 cantos. 12 cantos, 18 volumes.
So, 18 volumes. So he knows all the 12 canto by heart, and that's why he wrote it down. Is it?
Well, I'm not saying he knows it all by heart, but I mean we know that he translated and wrote commentaries on well, he finished 10 when he passed away. He'd done up to the part of the 10th canto. But yeah, so that was his main contribution. He'd actually written the first and second canto was already written in India before he left India in 1965 to go to America. He'd already written the first and second canto, which he brought with him some volumes of that. That was pretty much the only thing he brought with him was some trunks of.
Did he get these from his Guru Maharaj?
No, he wrote them himself. He wrote them himself. Okay. After he took sannyas, he was sitting in Vrindavan and he was writing Srimad Bhagavatam. And he got the first and second canto printed there in India, and he brought them with him. So that was one of his main missions, to give us the essence of the Vedas, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam, and which is bhakti, to engage in the loving service of the Lord. However, most scholars that study the Vedantas, the Vedanta Sutras, most of them impersonalists. So most Vedantists, that means people that study Vedanta Sutra, they're Mayavadis or impersonalists. So they've misinterpreted it in the wrong way, that the absolute truth is impersonal, has no form, that their understanding is God is not a person. So they've misinterpreted it. So Prabhupada is giving the correct understanding of the Vedanta Sutras.
Yesterday we were looking at chapter 2, and one of the things that Gail was brought up was that the verse 53, and it talks about when your mind's no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and we had a discussion of what on earth that meant. So maybe you could, it sort of relates to what you're talking about. So maybe you could help us with that, because we couldn't quite work out what that meant. About the flowery language.
What was that? Was that the second chapter, text 42? Was it 42 and 3?
53 it is. Second chapter 53.
Okay, so you want to go to that? Everyone can go to that second chapter 53.
It'd be nice to, because we sort of had discussions, but we never really know the answers. So
yeah.
Your mind is no longer disturbed by a flowery language of the Vedas. And when it remains fixed in the trance of the self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness.
It mentions it earlier also. The 42nd, 43rd verse. So go further forward. Same chapter, 42 and 43. There's two verses together. And then the actual, it's in the Sanskrit as well. Puspatam vacham. Yam imam puspatam vacham. Puspatam means flowery, and vacham means words.
Men of the small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery word of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planet, resultant in good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of a sense gratification and opulence life, they say that there's nothing more than this.
So a flower is very attractive, right? So flowery words are very attractive words. And what are those attractive words about is, in some places of the Vedas, is attracting us to going to heaven. And in order to go to heaven, performing some recommended sacrifices. So for the purpose of going to heaven and enjoying sense gratification there, and it gives these very attractive flowery words that there's beautiful women there, and there's wonderful food there, and one can live 10,000 years of the demigods there, and they have this intoxicating beverage which makes you feel like you're invincible, which is called somaras. And they drink that and they become like, they feel like they're immortal, and it makes them impervious to diseases and old age and so forth like that. So the Vedas in some sections present, which is called the Karma Kanda section. So that's called, there's three sections in the Vedas. There's the Karma Kanda section, which recommends a regulated kind of sense gratification and going to heaven. And then there's the Jnana Kanda section, which is meant to be attractive for those that are into philosophical speculation, mental speculation. That's the Gyanis. And then there's the Upasana Kanda section, which is basically to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But yeah, many people are attracted to this Karma Kanda section, which has many flowery or attractive words talking about what it's like in heaven and everything. And people get attracted to performing sacrifices to go there. So that's what it means, flowery words. And why did Vyasadeva write those flowery words? That's the next big question in everyone's mind. Why Vyasadeva is an incarnation of God, and you know, he's highly enlightened and everything like that. Why would he put that in there to attract people to go to heaven? Actually, his spiritual master is Narada Muni. Vyasadeva's spiritual master is Narada Muni, and after writing all the Vedas, this is mentioned in the first canto Srimad Bhagavatam. You can read the story there, conversation with Narada and Vyasadeva. That after writing all of the Vedas except for the Srimad Bhagavatam, at this point he hadn't written Srimad Bhagavatam, but he'd written all the rest. He was depressed, you know, he wasn't happy with everything he'd written, but he couldn't figure out why he was unhappy. And Narada Muni pointed out his defect. He said that the reason why you're not happy, Vyasadeva, is because you've written everything about sense gratification. You've written everything about speculative knowledge, but you haven't written a book just about bhakti. There's a bit of bhakti mixed into all the rest of the Vedas. There's some bhakti mixed in everywhere, but you haven't written a book that's 100% just about the glorification of Krishna and his devotees, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam. You haven't written that yet. And that's why you're not happy. You've recommended to people to engage in sense gratification, you know, and you've recommended people to engage in mental speculation, but you haven't recommended people just to surrender to Krishna and engage in devotional service. So, and then it's talked about, you know, why did he do that? So why did he recommend people to go to heaven, you know, engage in speculation? Why do you think? Any ideas? Why would he do that? Why would he give a recommendation to worship some demigods in some places, and about going to the heavenly planets, perform some pious activities, go to heavenly planets?
I kind of think it might be a bit of a test, because ultimately that person has to come back here again, back down here to the prison that Maya was instructed to keep us in. And maybe that's a test to see if they have that pure devotion to Krishna, not to themselves.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. Test them. Yeah, give them a good test. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, not everyone, that's the point, you know, not everyone is prepared straight away to surrender to Krishna and engage in devotional service. So if imagine he's just, the only thing that's in the Vedas is to surrender to Krishna and chant Hare Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. Would that, you think everyone would want to read that? No, because we're rebels. We're Kali Yuga rebels. You know, most people are not even ready to accept there's a supreme God, a supreme controller. You know, not everyone's prepared to accept that we're the eternal servant of God, and then you have to surrender to God like that. So, you know, he's given a gradual step-by-step system there, so that some souls can start off from the first rung of the ladder, which is like Karma Kanda. You know, the idea is, okay, it is promoting sense gratification, but the thing is, to get that sense gratification, to go to heaven, you have to do pious activities, not sinful activities. You have to stop your sinful activities and engage in pious activities. So at least it's getting people to become pious and to accept that there is a controller above them. You know, they're not ready yet to accept there's a supreme controller, Ishvara Parama Krishna, but accepting, yeah, there is a God of heaven, Indra, and there is a God of the sun, there is a God of the moon, like that. And if you want to go there to the sun, the moon, or heaven, you have to worship them and please them and everything. So it's getting in people's minds the idea that there's someone above us, some controller, and that we should do some service for them, try to please them and everything like that. So it's trying to bring people one step in the right direction. First of all, understanding there's a higher controller, and then try to please them, serve them, do some worship like that. And then it takes people to the next step, Jnana Kanda, you know, a bit philosophical. That, oh, but even if I go to heaven, it's only temporary, and I'm still going to have to die. And like Gail said, then I'm going to come back down again, and I'm going to suffer again. That's a bit stupid. Go up and enjoy in heaven, fall back down, suffer on earth or even in hell or whatever, and then go back up again and back down again and up again. Oh, this is not really the ultimate happiness. You know, why don't we, you know, understand that we're a spiritual being. We're not the physical body. We're a spiritual being. So that's getting people slowly in the direction that we're not matter, that we can't enjoy this world, that we're actually a hum brahmasmi, that we're an eternal soul and we don't belong in the material world. So through that philosophical knowledge, people gradually become aware that they're not the body, that they're a spirit soul. And then finally bring people to the Upasana Kanda, that we worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead and we want to go back home, back to Godhead and like that, and be a loving servant like that. So that's actually why there's all these different kinds of information in the Vedas to accommodate for all of us. And we're all different levels. We're not all the same, you know, we're not all, even within religions, we see so many different religions. Why? There's only one God. Why so many religions? You know why? There's only one God, Christian, Hindu, Muslim, whatever. Why so many religions? Why not just one religion? It'd be a lot easier.
Yeah. Because of different cultures.
Different what?
Different cultural backgrounds and places they are positioned on the planet.
Yeah.
Whether they're, you know, Arabic or Indian or Westerners or...
Yes.
And just like you said, everybody's on different levels.
Yeah, and within those different cultures, there's different levels of understanding of the truth. You know, some have a very primal understanding, you know, just like in education. It's not, I mean, it's one education, but within one education, you have all different levels. Primary school, the beginning of primary, the end of primary, beginning of secondary, end of, you know, then tertiary, then within you have, you know, then you have master's, PhD, you know, like that. But not everyone is PhD. You know, how many PhDs in the room? You know, no one puts their hand up. So it's very rare. So bhakti is like for PhD. You know, but no, you can't expect, okay, everyone's going to school, but not everyone's PhD. Most people are in primary, secondary, like that. And very rare person has reached masters, and then even more rare, PhD. So bhakti is like, you know, PhD. So you can't expect everyone's going to be able to immediately jump on that. You know, so that's why the Vedas are so vast, you know, and it attracts everyone. Everyone can find something that's attractive to them in the Vedas. Whether you're into sense gratification, whether you're into speculation, whether you're into serving the Supreme Godhead, whatever, you know, wherever you're at, you know, there's so many things. There's knowledge about health in the Vedas, Ayurveda. There's knowledge about warfare in the Vedas, you know, Dhanurveda. You know, there's so many different kinds of knowledge in the Vedas. Whatever you're into, you can find it in the Vedas. You know, but however, the Vedas is slowly regulating that rebellious soul that doesn't want to serve God and wants to be God. So slowly it's transforming that very self-centered, egoistic, conditioned soul that wants to be God, and slowly bringing him around to the point where he can surrender like that to Krishna. But yeah, it's a gradual process. So he's given a gradual system there. But what his spiritual master pointed out, you haven't given just the ultimate perfection, the ultimate goal of just engaging in that loving service, just purely, exclusively like that. So after being chastised by his spiritual master, then Narada Muni, then he wrote Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the commentary on Vairāṇa Sutra.
Wow.
But yeah, the real Vedantist is the Bhakta, devotee of Krishna. But most of them, unfortunately, are just at the point of impersonalists.
When Josh was reading all different books that he used to come and talk about, was that other parts of the Vedas that he was reading? Remember, he used to come up with different information or books and things. Is that what he was doing, reading different parts of the Vedas? I remember he used to come up with books, and things I'd never heard about, and I thought, is that what he was doing, reading?
Probably it's related mainly with the yoga scriptures.
Okay,
which comes from Patanjali, originally from Patanjali, is the originator of that yoga system. Okay. So I'm not exactly sure. I mean, he was familiar with some of the Vedic texts, definitely.
Yeah, because
I'm sure it's a mixture.
He had a lot of knowledge of different things that I hadn't sort of heard about, talked about. Yeah.
However, it's 100% guaranteed that most of those books would have had an impersonal conclusion.
Okay.
It's nearly always going to be an impersonal conclusion. Yeah, like that.
Okay.
That the absolute truth has no form, is formless. So that's 99% of authors will be impersonalists, and the very rare one will be a personalist. So we have personalist and impersonalist. So bhakti is personal, but this jnana, all these jnanis, they're mostly impersonalists. So both are everyone's accepting God, but some understanding is in the ultimate reality, God is a person, and others understand the ultimate reality has no form, just energy, like that.
And it mentions that in one of the, I don't say them every morning now, but in the 10 offences to the holy name, one of them's about karma kanda, isn't it? It's not, I don't say them every day now. Can't remember. What's that one?
To consider the holy name to be one of the ritualistic activities recommend in the Vedas karma kanda, like that.
Well, that makes sense.
So that means. So, like I was saying, in the karma kanda section, they recommend different pious activities to help elevate you to go to heaven. So we should not. What this is saying, this offense is, you should not compare chanting the holy name to just be another one of the many pious activities. Chanting Hare Krishna is much more than a pious activity. It's the name of God is God. You're actually associating with God. So it's not just like performing some ritualistic sacrifice or something like that to go to heaven. If we associate with God's name, it's actually directly bring us in contact with God, which can take us straight back to the spiritual world, get liberated from the material world. It's not just going to promote us to heaven. The result of chanting Hare Krishna is not going to heaven. It's getting liberated from the material world, going back to Godhead. So you shouldn't compare. What that offense is saying, don't compare chanting the holy name to digging wells, building hospitals, doing sacrifices, any kind of pious activities. It's not, you can't compare the two. They're completely different. There's nothing in common there. But some people misunderstand that. They think, yeah, we're just doing pious activities like they are. But yeah, it's completely different. Good. Bhaktimal, I'm impressed. Lots of interesting things you've been looking at. Nice. You've obviously been studying and reading a lot. That's good.
No, I haven't been actually. I have to say I've been sucked in by Maya.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, I can tell. No, you've brought up some interesting things. Obviously, you have been reading something with some other devotees. That's good.
And she's been looking after us. She has been looking after all of us.
Oh,
too,
lovely.
which is good. Yep,
Yeah.
it's lovely.
Yeah, that's one of the best services to Krishna. One of the best services to Krishna. Do you know what it is? To serve Krishna's devotees. To serve Krishna's devotees. Krishna's devotees are very dear to Krishna. It's very hard to please Krishna. Very difficult to please Krishna, but very easy to please the devotees. Krishna, there's not much that Krishna needs. He's self-sufficient. He has everything he needs. But the devotees, we have a lot of things that we need. We have a lot of troubles and difficulties and things we need help with. Sorry, we
were only saying today how yesterday was wonderful and Bhakti Mala looks after us, but that Mahabhadra actually, for the first time, he was lit up with enthusiasm really in the class and actually stayed with us after we finished, which was
he's never done
that
in like 2 years. He just gets up and goes, but he was really interested in the conversation, which was really nice for us.
Great.
Yeah.
That's one of the recommendations in this process of bhakti, is to be patient. To be patient. These are very powerful things that we're doing, hearing about God, chanting God's names, associating with God's devotees, taking God's prasadam, so forth like that. It will purify us, no matter how, many difficulties we have, how contaminated we are or fallen we are or whatever we are. But it will, in due course of time, it will clean even the most dirty heart. So we just have to be patient with ourselves and with others too. We just try to encourage, everyone else to keep doing more bhakti, and that with that faith that it will purify us. And for ourselves also, we need to encourage ourselves and other people encourage us, to keep going on the path, and it will work. It will have an effect, just like some kinds of medicine, maybe like homeopathic medicine or maybe naturopath medicine, Ayurveda medicine. They're very effective, but it takes time. It's not like a quick fix. And the Western medicine was all about getting a quick fix. We want to fix the headache right now. But, these other kind of natural treatments, they work, but it takes some time like that. So we have to be patient. So yeah, that's encouraging, inspiring. Mahabhadra's coming very enlivened. That's good. Nice. So yeah, this verse is talking, the last verse that we did last week, and this one also, is talking about the spiritual world. So that's what the people that are interested in the essence of the Vedas, that this is the interest. Getting beyond this world. What's beyond this world once we get liberated from this world? So it's described as unmanifest, and that's what we talked about last week. The spiritual world, you can't see the spiritual world with these material eyes, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just because you can't see the spiritual world and because you can't see God there, then it doesn't mean that they don't exist. But it just means there's a lot of things beyond our eyes. And as we pointed out last week, even in this world, there's a lot of things we can't see. Who's seen an atom and a neutron, a proton, an electron? Put up your hand if you've seen an atom. No, but we accept there are atoms, even though we haven't seen them. Have you even seen your own heart? Have you seen your brain? Like that. There's a lot of things we can't see, you know, but we accept that they're there. And but that doesn't mean it's always going to be unmanifest. Of course, if we get qualified to go back to the spiritual world, then you'll be seeing it all the time. It'll always be manifest to you. It'll always be manifest. So that's one of the qualities of the spiritual world, is that it's not manifest to our material eyes. Another quality is mentioned here, infallible. So what that means is that when the soul returns to the spiritual world, we never fall down again. Never fall down. One who goes back to the spiritual world never falls down again. So therefore it's known as infallible. And it's also known as the supreme destination, Paramgati. So we have different destinations, right? In Australia, what's the supreme destination in Australia? I don't know. People have different opinions.
Newcastle.
Newcastle. The real sense enjoyers might say Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, or whatever like that, or like that. So there's different ideas about. Some people might say it's Hawaii is the best place to live, or whatever like that. And beyond the enjoyment of this world, then there's heaven, and then more than heaven, an even better place than heaven is to merge into the spiritual light, Brahmajyoti. There's no birth there, there's no old age, there's no disease, there's no death, completely free from all kind of suffering. So that's more better than going to heaven, is to go into the spiritual light, the Brahmajyoti. But even more better than the spiritual light, multiplied by thousands and millions, unlimitedly more, is to go into the Vaikuntha planets, the spiritual planets, where everyone lives eternally and have loving relationships with Lord Narayan and Lakshmi and everything. And then of all the Vaikuntha planets, the top planet is called Goloka Vrindavan. Goloka Vrindavan, that's where Krishna lives with Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, all the cowherd boys, the cowherd girls, the gopis, the cows, the peacocks, the lotuses, so forth like that, and enjoying so many different kinds of ecstasies, ever increasing forever. And Prabhupada in the purport is going to give us a little window into that Goloka Vrindavan. So that's exciting. That's exciting. So yeah. So Krishna's saying here in this verse, that is my supreme abode, the spiritual world. That's the supreme place to live, is the spiritual world. Better than in the Brahmajyoti, the spiritual light, better than heaven, better than the earth, the very best place. So let's read about that. Okay, Gail, do you want to start reading, or whoever's ready? Report.
The supreme abode of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described in the Brahma Samhita and the Sitamani Dharma, a place where all desires are fulfilled. The supreme abode of Lord Krishna, known as Goloka Vrindavana, is full of palaces made of touchstone. There are also trees called desire trees that supply any type of edible upon demand. And there are cows known as Subhahi cows, which supply a limitless supply of milk. In this abode, the Lord is served by hundreds of thousands of goddesses of fortune, Lakshmis, and he is called Govinda, the primal Lord and the cause of all causes. The Lord is accustomed to blow his flute, Venam Kananantam. His transcendental form is the most attractive in all the worlds. His eyes are like lotus petals, and the colour of his body is like the colour of clouds. He is so attractive that his beauty excels that of thousands of cupids. He wears saffron cloth, a garland around his neck, and a peacock feather in his hat. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna gives only a small hint of his personal abode, Goloka Vrindavana, which is the supermost planet in the spiritual kingdom. A vivid description is given in the Brahma Samhita, Vedic literature, Katha Upanishad 1:3-11, states that there is nothing superior to the abode of the Supreme Godhead, and that abode is the ultimate destination. Purasana param knitsitsa kasta parama gati. When one attains to it, he never returns to the material world. Krishna's supreme abode and Krishna himself are non-different, being of the same quality. On this earth, Vrindavana, 90 miles southeast of Delhi, is a replica of that supreme Goloka Vrindavana, located in the spiritual sky. When Krishna descended on this earth, he sported on that particular tract of land known as Vrindavana in the district of Mathura, India.
Wow, these are really flowery words. So from the Brahma Samhita, it's very attractive, isn't it? Hearing that detailed description of what's going on in the spiritual world. This is the real flowery words. So as Prabhupada's mentioning, the Bhagavad Gita just gives us just a little hint about the supreme abode, the spiritual world. Just gives a little hint. And like these couple of verses, there's one or two other places where it talks a little bit about the spiritual world. But just a little hint, all it's saying, what is it? What is it saying in the Bhagavad Gita about the spiritual world? That it's unmanifest, means you can't see it with these eyes. It's an infallible place that if you go back there, you don't fall back down again. And it's the supreme destination. And where's that verse? There's one verse that's saying, Atad Basyate Suryo. I'm going to look up a verse in the back. I can't remember where it is, but I remember what the first line is. So the first line is Na Tad Basyate Suryo. So I'm going to look up that in the back. Na Tad. Okay, 15:6. So let's go to 15:6. 15 chapter text 6. So this is another one that gives us a little bit of a hint about the spiritual world. Have you found that, Bhakti Mala? Right. That's all right. Whoever's found it can read it.
The supreme abode of mind is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by the fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world.
There you go. So there's another hint about the spiritual world. What is it? What do we find out about the spiritual world here?
Isn't it true that it's illuminated by Krishna himself, by his
Rays from his body? Yeah.
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 Yeah. The radiance from his beautiful body that lights up the whole spiritual world. Not only that, the light from Krishna's body comes into the material world through the sun and the moon, like that. And the moon is a reflection of the sun. So it comes into the material through the sun and then radiates to the moon and then onwards like that. So it's all coming from Krishna's body originally, and that's called Brahma Jyoti. So that spiritual light, the source of that spiritual light, Brahma means spiritual and Jyoti means light. So that's Brahma Jyoti, means spiritual light. The origin of that spiritual light is Krishna's body. And that's what the Mayavadis, the impersonalists, will not understand. They think that Krishna comes from the Brahma Jyoti. But mate, it's the other way around. You got it wrong, mate. It's the other way around. It's not that Krishna comes from the Brahma Jyoti and all of us, but that the Brahma Jyoti comes from Krishna. Brahma Jyoti comes from Krishna. So what we learn here is in that spiritual world, there's no need of the sunlight or moonlight. Here in the material world, there is a need for it because it'd be a completely dark place. It'd be a completely dark, miserable place without the sun and the moon. The sun during the day, obviously, and the moon at night gives us some light. So in the spiritual world, they don't need those planets to give them light. However, I would say that you can read about in Krishna's pastimes, there is a full moon and everything like that. So still those objects are there in the spiritual world, but it's not like they're necessary for giving light. They're not necessary for giving light. Those things might still be there, but they're not necessary. It's not like it's going to be dark unless the sun comes up or whatever like that. And so there's no need for fire, no need for electricity, all these kind of things. You know, everything is self-sustaining, self-sufficient. It's not depending on these things. Like here, without fire, you know, it's all cold and like now we've got the fire going in winter, but it's not necessary in the spiritual world. They don't need a fire to keep them warm, or the sun to see, or electricity to see. You know, it's always self-illuminating. So those planets in the spiritual world, they're known as self-illuminating. Self-illuminating. I like that. Here, everything is illuminated with the sun, with the moon, like that, or with artificial things, electricity, like that. It's not self-illuminating. How everything automatically in the material is dark. That's the way it is. The nature of everything in the material world is just nature is darkness, ignorance. But the nature in the spiritual world is everything is bright, everything is full of knowledge, everything is conscious, like that. So yeah, that's a little bit of another little hint about the spiritual world in the Bhagavad Gita here. So let's go back to today's verse. So, oh, here it is. So yeah, a little hint in the Bhagavad Gita, and then Prabhupada is giving us a very detailed insight into the spiritual world from another book, the Brahma Samhita. So this is composed by Lord Brahma. And in the beginning of the universe, he was all by himself and it was completely dark. At this point, there's no sun, no moon in the beginning of the creation of the universe, and it's just him. And he was born from a lotus flower that came from the navel of Vishnu, Garbhodakashai Vishnu. So, and he appeared on that, it was born on that lotus, and no mummy. He had no mummy. He's just born from Vishnu's navel. So he's a very unique person. He's the only one that doesn't have a mum. He's got a dad, but no mum. So very unique. He's known as Swayambhu, means self-born, not born from a mother. So he was completely confused in ignorance. And then he tried to find out where he came from. So he crawled down the stem of the lotus. And all he heard was these crashing waves because there's water. Vishnu lies on a ocean of water called the Garbhodak Ocean that half fills the universe. Each universe is half full of water, and the top half is full of space. So he crawled down and just heard that water, and that scared him. So he went back up to his lotus flower, and is still confused. And then he heard the syllables tapa, which means austerity. So he got the idea there to do austerity. So he just meditated on those syllables. He meditated. It said he meditated. So he meditated on that sound, tapa. And he did that for 1,000 years. 1,000 celestial years he meditated, performed austerities there and meditated. And then at the end of that 1,000 years, then Krishna revealed everything to him in his heart. Krishna gave him like a transcendental TV in his heart, and he could see into the spiritual world. From his lotus flower, he could see into Goloka Vrindavan. And this is one of the verses. All this description is just one of many verses. I highly recommend you read the Brahma Samhita. We sing them in ISKCON temples around the world when we greet the deities around 7 o'clock. There's three of the verses we sing. Chintamani pakara sadma sukalpa vriksha laksavate susurabir abhipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra sadasambrahma sevyamanam govindam Adipurusham tamaham bhajami govindam Adipurusham tamaham bhajami. So that's just one of the three verses we sing in the morning. The other one's Vainum Kranvantam Aravinda, and the other one's Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti. So this is just from a couple of those verses. Prabhupada's giving all this detail that that Lord Brahma has got that direct realization, visualization. He's the original visualizer. So he's visualizing the whole spiritual world just sitting on that lotus flower, because Krishna's pleased by his austerity he did and trying to understand where he came from. So Krishna's being pleased. And that's the process of bhakti. It's such a beautiful process. What are we doing in this bhakti yoga system? We're doing activities that please Krishna. We're hearing about him, that pleases Krishna. We're chanting his names, that pleases Krishna. We're offering our food to him, that pleases Krishna. Then we eat that food, that pleases him. We try to help other people to understand Krishna, that pleases him. So we're doing these 9 processes of devotional service, or even one of them if we do it, that pleases him. When he's pleased, what will happen? What will happen when Krishna is pleased with our service? He reveal himself to us. He reveal himself to us. Krishna revealed himself to Gail one night, she was telling, on a Friday night. Krishna revealed himself. And Krishna was pleased by Gail's concentrating on the holy name. And he revealed a little bit of himself to Gail. So like that, you know, when Krishna's pleased by our service at any time you don't know, Prabhupada told the book distributors, one time he told some book distributors, one day you'll be distributing books and you'll turn around to distribute a book to the next person and Krishna will be standing there. Wow. One day you'll turn around, distribute books to the next person, and Krishna will be standing there. Why would Krishna be standing there? Because he's pleased. And he wants to thank you for your service. Thank you. He might even shake your hand. He might even give you an embrace like that. So that's the idea. Bhakti is such a powerful process because it's performing activities that directly please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when he's pleased, he'll reveal everything to you. So it's not like you have to fight and climb and crawl your way out of the material world. No. The purpose of your endeavor is not to get out of the material world. That's not what it's for. The purpose of your endeavor is just to try to do things that please Krishna. And when he's pleased, then Krishna will pull you out of the material world. Krishna will get you out of the material world. All you have to do is try to please him. So, yeah, he got complete visualization. So what did he see? He saw that all the houses there, Chintamani Dham. Chintamani means touchstone. Dham means place. It's a place made of jewels. Like Chintamani is one of the jewels. The specific quality of Chintamani is if you touch a Chintamani jewel to iron, it turns into gold. That's one particular jewel in the spiritual world. We don't have any of them here. But if you touch that Chintamani jewel to something iron, it immediately turns into gold. Gulshan's getting excited now. Wish we could have some of those.
And
We
what
have a lot
about
of iron, but
what about the cow that it describes always giving
Surabhi.
always giving the milk? The
yeah,
trees
unlimited.
just
Unlimited
picks-
quantities of milk, yeah. And even other things other than milk. Not unlimited quantities of milk, but even if you want more love for Krishna, they can give you that too. Whatever you want, they can give you. Even if you want a mango, the cow can give you even mangoes if you want, or bananas, whatever you want, anything. But as I was saying about the jewels, the houses are made of jewels, and the ground is jewels. So everywhere's just jewels. There's no like mud and stones and useless things. It's all sapphires and emeralds and rubies and diamonds and things that we don't even know, like
Then
Chintamani.
If you're in the mode of bhakti, that's
Yeah.
irrelevant. These have no value. They just like whether it's a gold or it's a mud, is the same thing. Like it's a stone or a pebble or diamond. It has got no value whatsoever. You're in the bhakti. You're in the different mode.
Yeah, of course, everyone's focused on Krishna, but still, the spiritual world is a beautiful environment to live in. And Krishna's created that environment because Krishna likes that environment. Krishna likes the most beautiful things. He likes beautiful cows and peacocks and beautiful houses. Krishna doesn't like living in plastic, surrounded by plastic and glass and steel and all these kind of things. Krishna likes all the beautiful jewels. And why do you think we have some beautiful things here in this world? There's some beautiful jewels and some nice flowers and nice lakes and rivers and mountains and that. This is all part of Krishna's beautiful creation. He's the supreme artist. But I agree. When you go there, it's not that you're going to be attracted. Gulshan goes there and he's attracted to, oh, look at these sapphires. No, you're going to be looking at Krishna.
Like honestly,
When I was
if the
younger,
Krishna is
though,
there,
I painted my room like a rose quartz. Like
Okay.
I painted it so it you know how rose quartz, it's all white, and I sponged it. So my whole room felt like I was in a rose quartz crystal. So I could
yeah.
imagine, like, if you're in the spiritual world and there's all these beautiful jewels and everything, it'd be amazing.
Oh, it's ecstatic, completely
Yeah.
ecstatic. And we need this knowledge, because how are we ever going to give up this rotten world unless we hear about some better place? Why are we so attached to this world? Because we think this is all there is. We think there's nothing more than this. Therefore, the Vedas gives us this detailed information of the spiritual world to attract us, to attract our hearts. When we hear about, oh, there's so much jewels there, I want to go there. That's important to know that. Although I agree with Gulshan that we shouldn't just be attracted to the jewels, and a devotee isn't. But still, this information is attracting people that let's give up Newcastle, let's give up Auckland, let's give up Los Angeles, Mumbai, Tokyo, and we want to go to Goloka Vrindavan because it's a beautiful place. So has beautiful houses, beautiful trees, beautiful cows, and there's hundreds of thousands of goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. He is known there by the name Govinda. Go means cow and Vinda means pleasure. So he gives pleasure to the cows. Go also means senses. So he gives pleasure to our senses. Just seeing Krishna is the perfection of our eyes. The perfection.
if the Krishna is there, I don't think so. You can take eye off the Krishna to see anything else.
Of course.
It's so beautiful. And
Of course.
then who cares about the jewels or anything? Surabhi, if the
I
Krishna is there.
know. But Krishna, he wants to live in the best place, and he doesn't want to live in a rubbish tip. Krishna's not going to live in a rubbish tip. You know, so Krishna creates the ultimate place to live in, you know, and we can live there with him. I mean, I'll tell you what, you know, why do we like to live in a nice place? Why do we like to have a nice garden around us, have the sound of running water and all this, a fountain, and have nice fragrant flowers and some birds chirping? Why do we like all those things?
Because
Where does
Krishna
that come
likes it
from?
when Krishna is a part of us. Like, you know, it's a
We're
little
part
part
of
of
Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What-
Krishna likes it, part of us.
Yeah, so that comes from Krishna. Krishna likes to live in a nice place. We're part of Krishna.
Have you noticed, Prabhuji, like if somebody give you a mango, or if you're going to the street and there's a mango on the tree, you love to steal from that house and eat it. That's more beautiful than you can purchase or somebody can give. Why? Because Krishna do the stealing, and we are part and parcel of Krishna.
I'm not so
Yeah.
sure about all your philosophy, Gulshan. Some of your philosophies are a bit
I
out
believe
there.
in that. I've got some guava tree. I tried to steal someone's house, and if the neighbor comes, I run. That gives you ultimate pleasure in the taste, because I'm the part and parcel of Krishna. It's literally me. Krishna steal the butter. I steal the guava. That's why it gives me pleasure.
Then we will tie you up with a rope.
Oh yeah, I love him. And spank me.
It always gets down to this with you two.
Doesn't matter what you say.
No, it always goes this way with you two. Someone's gonna tie each other up or smack each other.
However, Gulshan, it's not recommended to imitate Krishna.
No, but we can follow Krishna. Krishna steal the
Follow
butter.
him,
I can
Yeah.
go to that place across the road to
Yeah.
steal some flour from Gail's place, and the girls come out with a stick or something, and I run
Okay,
it there.
yeah. If you want to imitate Krishna, then you imitate him lifting a mountain. Then you go and imitate a mountain. Then if you can lift a mountain,
I can
then you
do
can
whatever in
steal
my
the.
jurisdiction. I can only lift the flour. That's all I can do.
No. If you can't lift a mountain, you're not allowed to steal Gail's flowers.
I'll send my
But
dog out.
It's a little Krishna in me and you and everyone. That's forced me to do that. It's not me. It's a Krishna in me.
Yeah,
That's all
Gulshan
right. I'll
was
tell
beautiful.
the police that. I'll say, look, I'm really sorry. He thinks that he's imitating. Well, I wouldn't tell them it was Krishna, but he thinks he's imitating God, and they would handcuff you and take you away.
Whole idea is to you chase me. I steal the flower. Flower is not the issue.
Oh.
Anyway, this is a beautiful a picture for us to meditate on. This is a beautiful picture given to us to meditate on by Prabhupada, so we can visualize this ourselves, the spiritual world, and develop our attraction to go there. And like it said, that if you go there, then you never come back. And then Prabhupada mentions Krishna's supreme abode and Krishna himself are non-different, being of the same quality. So Krishna is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. So the spiritual world is also eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. It's the same quality as Krishna. And then Prabhupada mentions that the replica of Goloka Vrindavan of the spiritual world is in the material world on this earth, and it's 90 miles southeast of Delhi. So this Vrindavan, which is called Gokul Vrindavan. So in the spiritual world, it's called Goloka Vrindavan. In the material world, it's called Gokula Vrindavan. So this Vrindavan in the material world is an exact replica of the Vrindavan in the spiritual world. If you go there today, you might think, well, but I don't see the houses made of jewels. I don't see the wish-fulfilling trees and cows and things like that.
It's a different, like, you know, in actual Vrindavan has got an open sewer, but I don't think the Gokula Vrindavan has got an open sewer.
I know. So
I
what I'm gonna
typhoid in the spiritual world that you get in Vrindavan.
So what I'm gonna explain is that the Vrindavan on this earth, which is there right now, and Krishna came to that place 5,000 years ago, It's
It's
an exact
Divan.
it's exact replica of the Vrindavan in the spiritual world where Krishna lives. However, it's covered by Maya.
Yeah.
It is the spiritual world where Krishna's spiritual world has manifested, descended to this material world on this earth in Vrindavan, but it's covered by a veil of Maya. For us materialistic people that go there, we see the open sewer, like Gulshan says, the open sewer. But a pure devotee goes there, they can see the desire trees and the desire cows and the houses of jewels and everything like that.
The Yamuna river is clean, he can see, but it's not clean, but he can see clean.
Yeah, he can see everything as it is with lotuses and swans and everything like that. I'll tell you what, one king was very inspired. This is not too long ago, some hundreds of years ago. One king was very inspired by one great devotee, one sage. And he said that I want to do some service. I want to give you something. And then the devotee said, no, I don't need anything. I don't want anything. And the king said, no, I want to do something for you. I'm very impressed by your bhakti and everything. And the devotee said, oh, you can fix. There's some broken steps on this going down to these holy lakes and that called kunds. They'll have some steps. It's called a ghat. So where the people can bathe, it makes it easier to go down to the lake if there's some steps going down. So he said, you just fix some of these steps. And the king said, what? I'm a king. I can do heaps more than that. You asked me to fix some steps. So the devotee took him down the steps, to the broken steps. And then he gave the devotee gave the king a spiritual vision of those steps. And so he saw the real steps. And the real steps were made of jewels, completely covered in jewels that he hadn't even seen before. And then the king said, he wasn't so arrogant after that. He said, with all the wealth in my kingdom, I can't fix even one step. So like that, it's all there. But like going back to this, talking about unmanifest, for us foolish materialistic people that have no real love for God, then we can't see all of that. We can't see all that spiritual realm. But the only way we can see it is if it's revealed to us, like that devotee revealed it to a king. So unless Krishna or Krishna's devotee reveals the spiritual world to us, there's nothing you can do to see it. Don't think you can purchase a ticket to India to go to Vrindavan and you're going to see the spiritual world. It's more than that. You can go to the physical place, but to really enter into these holy places is only by advanced bhakti. Then you can.
That's
really
why they say that if you want to see the Vrindavan, don't see from your eyes, from the ears. You can listen.
Have to hear. Yes, so that's
Hear.
the beginning of the process. Yeah,
that's the thing. So
Yeah.
that's why. But Prabhupada opened that like a new Vrindavan in America. He said it's no different. Like you don't need to leave everything behind and just go to Vrindavan.
Sure.
That, but
Yeah.
anywhere you want to do that Harinam, that's become a Vrindavan.
Yeah. So wherever Krishna is, that's a spiritual world. So wherever Krishna's name is, wherever Krishna's form is, Krishna's pastimes, we're talking about. Like now, we're talking about Krishna. So Krishna's present where I am, where you are, like that. Krishna's present there, like that. And even in that, we might not realize that, isn't it? We're talking about Krishna, but do we realize that Krishna's on our tongue? Prabhupada said, when you say Hare Krishna, Krishna's dancing on your tongue. So that's there. It's really happening, but we haven't realized that. We can't see Krishna on our tongue, but through our ears, we hear the philosophy that, the name Krishna is non-different from Krishna. So like Gulshan's saying, we can see Krishna through the ears. Prabhupada would
Yeah.
often say, you know, we put too much emphasis on these eyes, but these eyes are not very useful, but the ears are very important through hearing. This is the process of hearing.
I
You know,
mean,
the first...
Nidhivan today, in Nidhivan, every day Krishna comes in Nidhivan as well. They put the lock on the door, and then there's 6 locks on the door, and then plates and everything. And then next day when they open the locks there, all the foods was taken, and then bed was unmade in there, and then the chewing pan is like there. And one day there's a news channel in India, in Delhi. They say, oh, we want to put our lock in there. He said, well, 6 lock there, you put the 7 lock. But come tomorrow morning in the Brahma Muhurat, in the Mangalati, and then you'll see that. And all 6 locks opened by the Pujari, but the 1 lock was there, he can't open the door. So he came, that cameraman and then the news team, they opened the door and they can see all the bed is undone, and then, you know, the plate of laddu and over there and half chewing pan and there, things like that. So who's that? That's why they announced that in Nidhivan, after dark, you can't not allowed to stay there. It's all the windows and the doors are all closed by miles away, and they would just keep checking that people are trying to hide in behind the tree or something to see that. And the next day they couldn't able to talk, or maybe they get blind.
Yeah, they go crazy. Like yeah, the people go crazy.
Yeah, or they died. Actually, a few of them even died. So,
yeah.
Where's this?
Oh yeah, it's Vrindavan till today. But you
In
know,
Vrindavan.
Where is it?
it's Vrindavan. It's called a Nidhivan.
What
But you
is
can
that?
go
One
daytime
particular
only.
place, one particular place where Radha and Krishna performing pastimes there every night, and it's like
the trees around there, they become a gopis in night time. Daytime we can see the tree, but nighttime they are the gopis to having the Ras Leela with the Krishna every night.
Yeah,
and then
so
a lot of people that they can even hear it.
Yeah,
you can, if you put the wall around the outside like a miles away, the wall you can put the wall on the ear, you can hear it. And then daytime you can see there's nothing there.
So is this a temple or just a building, or
it's a temple and the place?
It's a particular place within Vrindavan where Krishna is performing pastimes, and people are not allowed to go there. Yeah, so there's so many different realms, and you know, like we have 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional, you know, like that, it goes on and on. So we're only seeing, you know, a certain dimension, but there's dimensions beyond our comprehension. And like I said, don't worry about all that. You try to deal with what's within your dimension, and then Krishna will reveal to you when you're ready. If Krishna is pleased by your service, he can reveal more to you about the spiritual world and so forth like that. But from our side, we should just very dutifully follow the instructions of our spiritual master. That's our guiding light, to follow the words of our spiritual master. He tells us to chant 16 rounds Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every day, follow the 4 regulated principles, try to spread Krishna consciousness, you know, read Prabhupada's books. So these are kind of things we should fix our mind in. Don't worry about, you know, I can't see the spiritual world and everything. That will happen in due course of time whenever we come to that point.
Because that means if you keep thinking like that, it means you are looking for a fruitive action. You want to see that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's you, because I'm doing a 16 round, I want to see that. So you are interested in the results.
Yes.
What about the results? Just keep doing that. When the right time comes, Krishna will give you the vision or something to show you. Maybe not the with the flute and then things. He might come in the different ways or different pose or something like that. With a little child are asking you some food or something, and you won't even realize that he came in any form.
Yeah. So that's why we should always be in our best behavior.
To everyone.
Because Krishna could appear in any way. We don't know. You know, like that, to test. Like Gail was saying in the beginning, to test. So, you know, it's like, you know, so Krishna can test us, demigods can test us, so many Maya can test us. So, you know, we always need to be on
I told you that my mom.
So listen, that's for you too, Gulshan. You have to be on your best behavior. You have to behave. And Gail's going to tell me if you misbehave.
Since 2018, I come to the Bhakti tree. I did not disobey Prabhupada. I cannot insult Prabhupada. I did not have any sexual relation with any woman since, and I came to the ISKCON. That's for guarantee, and Krishna is the witness.
Yeah, but also no stealing Gail's flowers as well.
That is the part of me. The Krishna is doing that. I'm not doing that.
Okay,